It's often it's often kind of fun, those in our generation, to talk about, the way things were, and when we answered the phone in the old days. I don't know about you, but did you have a my grandmother had this 25-pound, Bakelite phone with a wool cord that went into the wall, and there was a pad of paper, and whenever the phone rang, it was a big deal. You got the phone. You didn't just let it go. You answered the phone. It could be important. It could be important. This is before call waiting, before any of that stuff, or caller ID, and that started to change things. But we felt okay, and the phone was our friend, and we got good in it. We used to have a teenagers line. Remember when you had a sister or somebody who wouldn't get off the phone? Ma, get him off the phone. You had one line, and maybe you had a party line. Or ask a kid today what a party line is. They have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Okay, fine. But the thing about the phone was it taught you how to communicate. It taught you how to deal with people. If you're calling the cable company, if you're talking to somebody, you need to get on the phone with somebody. Well, right now there's a study which I saw, and it shocked me to no end. This is from a Times UK story. It said a quarter of Gen Zers, of Zoomers, have never answered their phone. This absolutely amazes me. For parents who feel they've tried everything to get their kids to put down the phone, they're saying now the best thing might be to call them. A quarter of people aged 18 to 34 admitted in a survey that they had never answered their phone. They never answered the phone, 25%. When asked what they did when their phone rang, they said they simply ignored it. Some said they would Google or check the number, research the number to find out if this is somebody that they knew, is this in their list of friends, and slightly more than half assumed that an unexpected call must mean bad news. Almost 70% said they preferred a text to a call, and 37% said they would rather a voice note. And among the 35 to 54, only 1% said they would prefer a voice note to a traditional phone call. Now, first, I think we all know most of the time we get such crap when it comes to phones that we don't really want to hear anybody, because normally everybody that we know is listed and the name pops up. When it says unknown, you can forget it. Caller unknown, anything that denotes mysterious or some weird, Chinese or foreign, forget it. I understand that. I dig it. But I've never answered the phone. I've never answered the phone. But more importantly, and this is what I want to bring to your attention, it's not that they're not answering the phone, it's that they're not talking. And we're not talking. There are some of us who don't even speak to each other, and we're adults. I had a friend of mine who called me. Well, no, did not. And wanted me to do something. All he had to do, this is an old friend of mine, was pick up the phone and call me and said, I'm getting this, and I'm getting a text about this, and could I help with this? And this is the information. And I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him to pick up the phone and say, listen, I need your help. Or no, I just didn't respond. And he went away. Never called me. This guy known for 50 plus years. He's my age. He just, well, if you're not going to answer my text, I'm going away. I'm going away. This is the weirdest thing. There are people I know who do not talk to me. It's not just kids, but people who just don't talk to me on the phone at all or anything. And being on the phone is the most important. You can get anything done. If you're on the phone and you're nice to somebody, oh my God, they'll move heaven and earth for you. Kids and people that have to know the skill of being on the phone, of being able to handle a phone call. Well, today that's been transferred into this la-la land. And I know I'm making it sound like a lot of kids are screwed up, but I'm being kind. They're up, completely effed up. And I think you know what I'm talking about. How many times have you met, like you haven't seen a friend, you go, hey, have you met my son, my daughter? And you look and you think, what the hell's wrong with this person? What's wrong with making no eye contact? Boring, looking at their phone. We've been out. I've been out sometimes where there's like a family and there's a kid just sitting there on my phone, like we're not there. I could be like that monk in Vietnam and set myself on fire. You wouldn't even care. Okay, so that we've seen before. But in the meantime, they're non-communicative. They don't have any. They think about this. They can't write. They have no signature. They don't speak, and they don't want to speak. They can't handle things. Have you heard people? Have you ever heard? Somebody, this happened recently. There was a business kind of a deal, and the assistant says, "Thank you very much. If you have any questions," I figure, well, let me call this young lady, whatever. I swear to God, I'm thinking, is this because in the email, very very nice and happy. If there's anything we can do to help you, please let me know. And I'm talking, is this Michaela or whoever it is? Is this Morgan? Yeah, it is. And it's like they don't know me. Of course, I never met them, but there was no phone skills. And she's probably hoping above all that I don't call them. And I'm very good on the phone. I'm very good on the phone. And sometimes I guess I'm perhaps maybe too much on the phone, I guess. I used to be, well, when I prosecuted one of the last cases of obscene phone calls, probably in the history of mankind. True. This is a true story. Obscene phone calls, where this is before, this is ancient history. This is before caller ID, before any of this. This is where you had to go to the phone company. They did a pen register, and you wrote down at 9 o'clock. I got this call. Somebody, and you make a note, and then they will trace the number back, and eventually you say the number is 250, and the person says, "Well, I live in a house with people. I don't know. It's not me." I mean, it was horrible. There were actually obscene phone calls. We don't have them anymore. Well, we have obscene phone calls, but they're not meant to be. They're just people speaking in this foul-mouthed, coprolalic fugue that they're going through. I don't want to sound like the curmudgeon or the coot. I don't want to sound like this antediluvian, guy who's always complaining. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are not talking on the phone and we're not communicating. It's not just the phone. We're not communicating. We're doing LOL and these weird glyphs, and we're doing these strange and all this. And that's fine. Listen, that's good for a quick one, like on my way, things like that. That's terrific. But that should not replace actual communication. And communication actually involves meaningful discussion. How do I'm going to ask you a stupid question. Do people date anymore? Do people actually go out and court? Do people court? Is there phone conversation? Normally, I guess even if it's a dating thing, you see somebody, you make a phone call. Hi, how are you? Do they talk on the phone? Is there any wooing? Is there any, how do you lead to hooking up or whatever the particular, the goalpost is? I don't understand this. So this particular study, it sounds great, sounds fantastic, it sounds interesting and all that stuff, and yeah, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is simply this, and I mean it sincerely. You really have to understand that there is something that is very, very wrong, because we are becoming more and more uncommunicative, and that's one of the things that separates us from animals. It's this notion of language, real language, not communication. Whales and dolphins do not speak. It's not language. It's communication, but it's not language. Present tense and self-awareness and tense and, gender pronouns, and there's the past tense and pluperfect. This is something that dogs and animals can't do. We're losing that. And I'm telling you right now, eventually, whoever's responsible for destroying humankind as we know it, they've done tremendous work, because the next iteration of younger folks are not going to be able to speak, not going to be able to enunciate, articulate thoughts, or for any practical purposes be worthy of any attention or consideration whatsoever. I know that's I know that's brutal. I know it's brutal, but it's true. It's true. You know what I'm saying. And I never knew the phone is great. I love the cell phone. I'm getting news all the time. I'm reading stuff. I'm not playing, games with, remember when Angry Birds and all that? I'm not doing, tic-tac-toe and stuff. Whatever people play. I'm actually looking at stories. I'm sorry, it's what I do. But this, and if I hear one more person say no worries, let me explain something to you. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Try it. Thank you. You're welcome. Not no problem and no worries. I don't know where this came from. I have no idea where this came from, but it's got to end. It's got to stop. And the reason why we're seeing this is because the people, young folks, are so maladroit at speaking. Think about it. How do they learn vocabulary? There should be a phone. There should be a device in the phone, which I suggest. It counts the amount of likes. Let me see like. We were at an event the other day, my wife and I, and this woman came up and said, like, I said, well, excuse me. I didn't say this, but I wanted to say, you can't say like yet. You haven't said anything. You like means that you're comparing it to something, and you haven't even begun. Years ago, there was this awful thing. A lot of it was seen in various aspects of certain demographics of society. And it was, know what I'm saying, know what I'm saying, know what I'm saying, know what I'm saying, know what I'm saying. And they would start off a sentence with, know what I'm saying. It's like, you haven't said anything yet. We're losing even the rational components, the rational, the abecedarian application of just rudimentary communication. And I stand by what I say. And I'm not being a coot or a dotard. I'm telling you, it's the truth. That's all. Have a great day, my friends. By the way, please like what I'm doing. Please subscribe to the channel. You know how that is. Please be a part of this. Please hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And whatever you do, I beg, beseech, implore, and importune you to comment as you see fit.